Twin engines roar like thunder. The sleek fuselage tears through the sky at nearly 400 miles per hour, and a deadly arsenal waits behind the cockpit. This is the Grumman F7F Tigercat, the Navy's fastest and most powerful carrier fighter ever built. But here's the twist. Just as it was ready to dominate the skies, World War II was ending. The Tigercat had arrived too late to unleash its full fury, leaving only tantalizing what-ifs in its wake. This is the story of a warbird ahead of its time. Fast, fierce, and nearly unstoppable, yet always chasing a war that had already slipped through its claws. The F7F Tigercat. Too late for glory, but impossible to forget. The story of the Tigercat begins not with inspiration, but with desperation. By June 1941, the US Navy faced a harsh reality. The Pacific Ocean was vast, and their current fighters simply couldn't cover the distances required for the coming war. The F7F Tigercat appeared as the result of a Navy request in June 1941 for development of a larger twin-engine fighter for use on board the planned large aircraft carriers, Midway class. The Navy's brass understood something that would prove prophetic. They would need fighters with unprecedented range, firepower, and speed to dominate the Pacific theater. Grumman, already the Navy's darling with their successful F4F Wildcat, stepped up to the challenge. But this wasn't just about building a bigger fighter. This was about reimagining what naval aviation could be. The airplane was the first twin-engine fighter ordered in large quantities and the first carrier aircraft to incorporate tricycle landing gear. Think about what the Navy was asking for. A twin-engine fighter that could operate from aircraft carriers, something that had never been successfully done before. They wanted an aircraft that could escort bombers deep into enemy territory, engage in air-to-air combat, and then transition to ground attack missions. They wanted, in essence, the perfect naval weapon. The requirements were staggering. Climb to 20,000 feet in under 7 minutes. Achieve speeds exceeding 400 miles per hour, carry enough fuel for extended patrols, and mount enough firepower to destroy any enemy aircraft or ground target. Oh, and it had to land on a pitching carrier deck without killing the pilot. Grumman was granted a contract for the XF-7F1 Tomcat. Yes, Tomcat, in June of 1941. Yes, you heard that right. This aircraft was originally designated the Tomcat, decades before the famous F-14 claimed that name. But as development progressed, it became clear this wasn't just another cat in Grumman's famous feline family. This was something entirely different, a tiger among house cats. The timing of this request tells us everything about American strategic thinking in 1941. 6 months before Pearl Harbor, the Navy already understood that the next war would be fought across unprecedented distances. They were preparing for a conflict that would span an ocean, and they needed aircraft capable of matching that ambition. When Grumman's engineers sat down to design what would become the Tigercat, they weren't just creating another fighter, they were engineering a revolution. Every aspect of this aircraft pushed the boundaries of what was possible in 1940s aviation technology. Power plant, 2 times Pratt & Whitney R280034W double WASP 18-cylinder air-cooled radial piston engines, 2,100 horsepower, 1,600 kilowatts each. Let's put that in perspective. The Tigercat packed 4,200 total horsepower, more than most bombers of its era. These weren't just engines, they were automotive-sized powerhouses that could push this fighter to speeds that made enemy pilots question their own instruments. But power means nothing without control, and this is where Grumman's genius truly shines. The tricycle landing gear wasn't just innovative, it was revolutionary for carrier operations. Traditional tailwheel aircraft required pilots to land blind. looking around the raised nose during the critical final approach. The Tigercat's pilot could see the carrier deck all the way down to touchdown. The new airplane, while designated a fighter, was heavily armed to perform as a ground support aircraft, equipped with 420mm cannon and 4.50 caliber machine guns. They drew a lithe and graceful-looking twin piston-engined airframe that carried 4 wing root-mounted 20mm cannons and 4 fuselage-mounted .50 caliber machine guns. This wasn't just firepower. This was overwhelming force projection. When we compare this to the beloved F6F Hellcat, which carried 6.50 caliber machine guns, the Tigercat's combination of cannons and machine guns represented a quantum leap in destructive capability. The aircraft's performance numbers were staggering for their time. While the F6F Hellcat topped out around 380 miles per hour and the later F8F Bearcat managed about 425 miles per hour in a dive, the Tigercat could sustain speeds over 435 miles per hour in level flight. More importantly, it could maintain this performance while carrying external stores, something neither of its single-engine cousins could match effectively. It also was capable of carrying 2 1,000-pound bombs on underwing stations, or 1 torpedo under the fuselage. This versatility meant one aircraft could fulfill multiple roles that previously required different specialized airframes. Need a fighter. The Tigercat could engage and destroy enemy aircraft with its devastating armament. Need a bomber. Those same aircraft could carry enough ordnance to level installations. Need reconnaissance? Photo reconnaissance variants could penetrate deep into enemy territory and return with vital intelligence. The engineering challenges were immense. Balancing twin engines on a carrier-capable airframe, managing the center of gravity with various load configurations, ensuring structural integrity under the stresses of catapult launches and arrested landings. Every component had to be perfect, because there were no second chances at sea. Initial flight of the first prototype was in December 1943. When the XF7F1 first lifted off from Grumman's test facilities, everyone knew they were witnessing something special. Test pilots reported performance that exceeded expectations across virtually every metric. The climb rate was phenomenal, the speed impressive, and the firepower devastating in ground tests. But here's where the story takes its first dark turn. The aircraft failed carrier landing tests because of low-speed stability issues. This wasn't just a minor problem, this was a fundamental flaw that threatened to kill the entire program. The Navy had specifically requested a carrier-capable twin-engine fighter, and Grumman had delivered an aircraft that, while magnificent in performance, couldn't safely operate from the very platforms it was designed for. The test pilot's reports painted a complex picture. In the air, the Tigercat was everything the Navy wanted. It climbed like a rocket, dove like a meteor, and could outgun anything in the sky. Lieutenant Commander Charles Shields, one of the primary test pilots, reportedly called it the best damned fighter I've ever flown, but only when operating from land bases. The carrier qualification trials revealed the bitter truth. The Tigercat's approach speed was simply too high for safe carrier operations. The aircraft's weight and wing loading, necessary for its impressive performance, created approach characteristics that were borderline suicidal in the hands of average fleet pilots. While ace test pilots might manage to get it aboard, the Navy couldn't risk their young aviators' lives on an aircraft that demanded perfection on every approach. Navy brass found themselves in an impossible position. They had an aircraft that exceeded every performance specification they'd requested, but it couldn't operate from carriers. The irony was painful. In trying to create the ultimate carrier fighter, Grumman had built an aircraft too powerful for carrier operations. But there were also champions within the Navy hierarchy. Some forward-thinking officers recognized that even if the Tigercat couldn't operate from Essex-class carriers, it might find life aboard the massive new Midway-class carriers then under construction. These larger ships, with their longer flight decks and more powerful catapults, might accommodate the Tigercat's demanding characteristics. The Marine Corps, always pragmatic about acquiring capable aircraft regardless of their limitations, began expressing serious interest. Marine aviators didn't need to land on carriers. They needed aircraft capable of providing devastating close air support and interdicting enemy supply lines. For those missions, the Tigercat's land-based limitations weren't limitations at all. They were irrelevant. Developed during World War II as an escort or convoy fighter, the Tigercat was produced in small numbers, but was one of the most aesthetically pleasing designs ever to come off the drafting tables at Grumman. Even those who couldn't fly it had to admit, this was one beautiful aircraft. The F7F Tigercat's combat story is a tragedy of timing. Though it first flew in 1943, the first Tigercat squadron didn't reach Okinawa until August 13, 1945, just 2 days before Japan's surrender. After years of development, it arrived only to watch World War II end. The Korean War finally offered redemption. Marine Night Fighter Squadron VMFN 513 Flying Nightmares took F7F3N Tigercats into combat during the conflict's early stages. They became the only F7F squadron to see action, but their air-to-air record was ironically modest, just 2 North Korean Po-2 biplanes shot down. The irony is almost poetic. Here was an aircraft designed for high-speed aerial combat, yet its only confirmed victories came against Po-2s, flying antiques barely capable of 100 miles per hour. It was like using a Formula One car to catch horse-drawn carriages. But the Tigercat found its true calling in night interdiction. Under darkness, these radar-equipped fighters hunted enemy supply convoys, truck columns, and troop concentrations with devastating effectiveness. The F7F-3N and F7F-4N variants excelled in this role. Their powerful twin engines carried heavy radar equipment without performance penalties, while their armament could destroy targets other night fighters could only damage. Korean War veterans from VMFN 513 spoke of their Tigercats with genuine affection. They praised an aircraft that was stable in night conditions, forgiving in bad weather, and absolutely lethal when it found targets. The twin-engine redundancy proved critical during night operations over hostile territory. Once again, timing worked against the Tigercat. The turbojet F-3D Skyknight soon replaced it, cutting short its Korean service just as development delays had cost it World War II. This brief combat record carries profound weight, a glimpse of what the capable Tigercat might have accomplished if it had arrived just 2 years earlier. The Tigercat's real problem wasn't design, it was timing. In war, even brilliant machines can miss their moment. The Navy asked for a powerful twin-engine fighter in June 1941. Grumman got the contract that winter, and the first prototype flew in December 1943. In peacetime, that's fast. In a global war, it was already late. By 1943, the Pacific tide had turned. Midway had crippled Japan's navy, Guadalcanal showed America's resolve, and US carriers were winning with planes already in service. The F6F Hellcat, introduced just months earlier, was smashing Japanese aircraft and doing it from existing carriers with proven reliability. Navy leaders faced a tough choice: keep building what was winning the war, or gamble on a new, untested fighter with carrier problems. The Hellcat was ready now. The Tigercat was still a promise. Carrier limitations sealed its fate. The big Midway-class carriers that could handle it wouldn't arrive until after the war. The Essex-class carriers carrying the fight across the Pacific simply couldn't operate the Tigercat safely in large numbers. This wasn't unique. Germany's advanced Me-262 jet fighter and R-234 bomber also arrived too late to change their war. The Tigercat was part of the same story, next-generation aircraft landing in a war already decided by current-generation machines. The Pacific Campaign also favored simple, rugged planes. Hellcats and Corsairs could fly from rough, hastily built airstrips and be maintained easily. The Tigercat's twin engines and complex systems needed more skilled crews and better facilities, hard to find on new islands under fire. Production realities added to the problem. By 1944, US factories were turning out thousands of proven fighters every month. Shifting to a new design would slow output at the very moment speed mattered most, and while the Tigercat was different, it wasn't obviously better than the aircraft already winning. Finally, the war itself was moving too quickly. There wasn't time for the normal process of training, testing, and introducing a new aircraft into combat units. By the time the Tigercat was ready, the big battles it was meant for were already over. The Tigercat's story didn't end with military service. These powerful aircraft found a second career that probably saved more lives than they ever would have in combat. After the war, many Tigercats were converted into firefighting aircraft. Their twin engines and strong construction made them perfect for carrying fire retardant. Some were fitted with huge belly tanks that could hold 800 gallons of fire suppressant. The same aircraft designed to attack enemy targets found new purpose protecting American forests and communities. Today, surviving Tigercats are incredibly rare and valuable. Only a handful remain in flying condition, making them prized attractions at airshows worldwide. Several museums display restored Tigercats, the planes of fame. Air Museum has a beautiful F7F3N that was acquired from the Marine Corps Museum. The National Museum of World War II Aviation maintains two examples. These aren't just displays, they're flying pieces of history maintained by dedicated volunteers. Private collectors also keep some Tigercats airworthy, though the complexity and cost of maintaining twin-engine warbirds means every flying example represents someone's passionate commitment to preserving aviation history. The warbird community's dedication extends beyond just keeping these aircraft flying. Restoration projects often take decades and enormous resources. Every restored Tigercat represents not just a preserved aircraft, but the specialized knowledge and skills needed to maintain 1940s technology. When people see a Tigercat today, they're witnessing more than just a rare aircraft. They're looking at a what-if story, a reminder of how timing and circumstances can determine whether brilliant engineering becomes legendary or forgotten. The F7F Tigercat shows us that in warfare, having the best technology isn't always enough. Sometimes timing is everything. Despite being one of the most capable fighters ever built, the Tigercat's late arrival meant it missed its chance to shine. But that doesn't make it any less impressive as an achievement in aviation engineering. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments. What other aircraft would you like us to cover? We'll see you in the next one.